Welcome one and all to a video covering two of my favorite things in gaming combined into one, fighting games and the N64. Today we'll be looking at an old cousin to the Mortal Kombat series, War Gods. War Gods is a really interesting game to me. I've come across it at my local game shop a couple of times, but never really thought to pick it up until now, as I've been playing a hell of a lot of Tekken 8 since its release, and of course Street Fighter 6 as well, since I'm writing this right before the final day of Capcom Cup X. But having played those two games a lot lately, I just felt like right now was the time for me to explore an ancient piece of arcade fighting game history. Because yeah, this game is 100% just a port of its old arcade cabinet counterpart. Right from the main menu, we have a couple settings we can mess with, like turning fatalities on or off, changing the difficulties of the computer players, brightness, volume, all that jazz. Aside from the settings, pressing start just puts you right into the arcade mode where you're pit against all the computer characters in a rush of matches. And let me tell you, these computer players destroy me on medium difficulty. Of course, if the second player presses start on their controller, they'll be taking the computer's place in the battle as well. But before we get too much into that, let's go over the controls and systems that are set in place in War Gods. In this game, we have a pretty simple 4-button set of attacks, and a couple extra buttons that add a layer of depth here as well. We have low punch, low kick, high punch, and high kick. These buttons seem to be pretty universal attacks for every character as far as I could tell, and every character shares a couple of attack commands which keeps things light when jumping from one to another. Like if you hold back and hit low kick, you'll do a sweep, and if you spam low punch, you'll get a little rush of punches to get people off of you. Stuff like that. I actually really like the fighting system here, even if it feels and looks a little clunky on the surface. Like Mortal Kombat, we also have a block button instead of the classic hold back to block style of fighting games, but the movement in War God is really where this starts to branch itself away from the Mortal Kombat series. The movement we're working with here seems to have taken a page out of Tekken or Virtua Fighter's book, as we have a forward sprint as well as the ability to move in and out of the foreground. Yeah, this game is a 3D fighter. The thing about moving through the Z axis though is that you'll need to press your 3D button assigned on your controller before you do. Not only do I have trouble remembering to use a block button in fighting games, but having to hold a button in order to use your full range of movement? Yeah, it's definitely gonna be a little tough for me to get used to. But that pretty much covers the controls in War Gods. Of course, everybody has their own mixture of special moves that they can do, either by holding directions and pressing a button, or doing some motion inputs like quarter circles, half circles, or even combining more than one button pressed at the same time in order to get certain moves to come out, and it's really cool. These characters all have a little something unique to them, and it was a lot of fun exploring what they could all do. One of the ways I explored a little bit of every character was in the form of their 10-hit combos. These combos aren't all 10 hits actually, but it is what they're referred to as online, so that's how I'll refer to them here. Some characters have really simple 10-hit combos, like Warhead. To do Warhead's 10-hit combo, you only need to press back forward high punch, low punch, low kick, high kick, and finally low punch. A couple characters have pretty simple combo structures like this to their 10-hit combos, but a few other characters have pretty ridiculous ones, some of which I wasn't even able to pull off successfully once. Vala, for example, needs to press back forward high punch, low kick, down high punch, low punch, high punch, and then half circle forward, half circle back, high punch. These motions aren't very out of the ordinary for fighting games, and a double half circle actually isn't the hardest thing ever to input for me, even on an N64 controller, but the way that you have to input these combos makes this way harder. These 10-hit combos are basically performed like a retro game's cheat code. You just need to punch in all the correct inputs and you can watch as your combo is pulled off in front of your eyes. Not too fast, mind you, but you are able to input them all decently quick without waiting for every move to connect first. Some of these combos definitely require a specific timing with some of their buttons, but generally you'll get by most of them just fine by punching them in like a phone number. Instead of a Street Fighter combo being bop, 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 bop. These combos are more of a bop, 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 bop. But in order to keep this pace with 2 half circles at the end of a combo, I'd probably wreck my N64 stick before actually pulling it off. Maybe with my fight stick I'd be able to get this one done, but certainly with the N64 controller I don't see this happening. There are a few characters with ridiculous combos like this, but even some of the characters with more straightforward inputs do have weird timing requirements that others don't seem to need. Like with Voodoo, his control sequence is actually quite simple, but if you press these 2 low kicks too early, only one is gonna come out. It's weird that some characters have this property about them with their 10-hit combos, but as fighting games go, once you get the timing down for your combo, recreating it becomes much easier. Going back to the regular single-player game mode, Yeah, I continue to get my ass beat in the default medium difficulty. Knowing a bit about the special moves and some of the 10-hit combos, I have a few characters that I think are pretty sweet, but none of them are practiced enough to beat the computer players here. At least not yet. I think I am actually going to work to improve my play a little bit in this weird relic of a fighting game as time goes on, because it's actually very fun to play. Especially with the universal sweep attack or the low punch spam to get people off of you, it really seems like a game that could be fun to just pop in and play with friends like back in the days of the arcade era. While the 10-hit combos aren't the most realistic thing to hit in game unless you get maybe some kind of CC move on the opponent, it still is really fun to just footsies the hell out of my friends or spam special moves from a distance if they start playing keep away. And that's pretty much all I have to say about War Gods. It's not a very content-rich game as it only has one mode, which is to fight, but I actually really like it. The only footage I can find of people playing this game in any sort of tournament setting seems to be at some local tournament between friends just for fun. It's actually quite entertaining, and this video specifically kind of encapsulates exactly how I think playing this game with my friends would be. Lots of projectiles, not a lot of sidestepping, no real combos, and just a ton of fun. But with all of this said and done, that's gonna be it for me today. If you like seeing my dives into old N64 games like this one, please consider subscribing, leaving a like, or watching another one of the videos you see on screen here. Until next time, my name is Myloe, and I'm out.